And welcome back. I'm Ray Chubb, host of We the People Uniting America, and we're welcoming back Russ Bellevue of 420radio.org. Welcome back, Russ.
Thanks, Ray. Nice to be here.
Always have a pleasure to see you. And here we are, HighTimes Cannabis Cup in Seattle. You ever get tired of coming to these things, Russ?
Not at all. The only downside of having to travel to these things is dealing with airlines. But that's for anybody flying anywhere, isn't it?
Right.
I was lucky. I'm out of Portland, Oregon. I got to take the Amtrak train up here, which is a lot nicer.
Oh, that was for you then.
Yes, yes.
Right on. Not like the travel to Colorado.
You know, yeah, not like the road trip to Colorado. Definitely not.
So tell me about what's been going on. What's the haps with 420radio.org recently?
Well, we've been signing on a bunch of new shows. We now have 25 shows that we rebroadcast on 420radio.org, 22 of them from America, 2 from Canada, and 1 from Europe. And we're looking at adding another 5. We've got another hour block that we want to fill out through the weekdays. So hopefully we'll have 30 or more shows by the end of this year. And we are also gearing up for Tuesday, November 4th. We are doing all-day Marijuana Election Night 2014 coverage. We'll have reporters in Maine, Michigan, New Mexico, Oregon, Alaska, Florida, and Washington, D.C., covering all the votes on decrim, medical, and recreational legalization.
Fantastic. I really appreciate you being a voice. You are a shining star in this community, and people look up to you. And so when you are what I consider to be such an open-minded voice, and open-minded meaning that I read your posts, I see them, and you're not looking to exclude anybody.
That's one of the things I appreciate about marijuana is that as it was illegal, we all kind of became this group, this movement, this people, this culture. But as it's becoming more and more legal, now we're able to see that, well, wait a minute, we got rednecks and we got hip-hop. We got businessmen and we got hippies. We got, Christians, we got atheists. We got a very, very broad coalition of people that are part of this movement, and everyone has something to bring to it. And that's something that we're seeing now that legalization is taking place. People can expand beyond being just the identity of a pot smoker. That's just now part of their identity.
That's right. I'm from Arizona. And we're facing a battle right now. It really seems that the fight anymore isn't so much on whether or not we're going to get legalization state by state by state. What the question is, what is it going to look like? Who's going to be in control of it? And who is pushing these laws state by state by state? And right now, we're facing an issue with Marijuana Policy Project. And it's not conclusive on that our suspicions are true, but our suspicions are that Marijuana Policy Project is creating imperfect laws so that they can stay in the game. It seems to be what they're doing because they're writing laws so ambiguously that it doesn't really even make sense. People are still finding themselves in jail or fighting their way through court. And so in Arizona, what they've done is they've come in and said, we're going to draft the law for 2016. And they're not even talking to the people. And I've called out to them, and the people have called out to them to talk to us. Have you had any sort of workings with MPP? Have you had a different kind of experience with them?
Well, with Arizona specifically, I recall as you guys were going for medical marijuana, and it was being proposed, that I called out MPP's Andrew Myers on the fact that there was going to be this 25-mile halo, this idea that if you lived within 25 miles of a dispensary, you don't have the right to grow at home.
Right.
And I could foresee what was going to happen. I could see that, well, they'll legalize, there won't be any dispensaries, so everybody will grow. And then as the dispensaries pop up, people will get these notes that'll say, sorry, you can't grow anymore. Your rights are taken away. And that seemed to me more cruel than not letting them grow in the first place. Because now you've recognized, oh, I can grow and I can take care of myself. Oh, sorry, Bob opened up a dispensary 23 miles away. You can't grow anymore. And now it's to the point where there's only 4% of the population of the state of Arizona even lives anywhere where they can grow. I think Tuba City is one of the places they can grow now, right?
I'm sure the government's working to fix that.
Yeah, and when I was actually at an event where Andrew Myers was there, and I posed the question to him, what's the point of this 25-mile halo? And I still have the quote. I play it from time to time. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly, but it was, we created the 25-mile halo to ensure that there would be a viable market for the dispensaries. And I thought, yeah, because it's tough selling weed. Boy, that's a business you're going to go out of business on, selling weed. That's real. It made no sense. It just seemed like a justification to me. Now, perhaps the political thinking was, if we didn't put this in, it wouldn't pass. Maybe it only passed with 50.13%, so maybe that's true, or maybe that brought it down. You can't really tell, right?
Right.
So as MPP moves forward, I often question what the motivation is. I think I don't like to ascribe to people like conspiratorial thinking, but I do think that MPP focuses on winning first. We must win in order to get our next batch of funding or whatever it might be. We've got to win. And sometimes they will sacrifice things that a lot of cannabis consumers would say, hey, look, I'd rather wait 2 years than win with something bad. In Oregon, as we approached 2014, in January, MPP Steve Fox came out and said, Oregon, you should not go forward with 2014. Rob Campia, the head of MPP, sent a memo to Oregon's activist community, basically saying, don't go for 2014, you'll lose, it's too soon, wait for 2016. We said, screw that, we're going to strike while the iron is hot. And it turns out that our ballot measure is now sitting at about 51% of the polls. MPP-backed Alaska, they're sitting at 44%. So as Arizona turns toward 2016, keep a close eye out on what's going on there.
Absolutely, and that's what we're doing, because have you heard of Safer Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay, Safer Arizona is the grassroots movement in Arizona, and what's going on is MPP is pretty much pushing away the grassroots movement, but they're doing it a different way. They're doing it really snake in the grass style, because Safer had assigned one of the chairmen to discuss with MPP what an alliance might look like. And so far it's been a lot of empty promises, nothing public, nothing on paper, but yet the effects is this person is saying, okay, no, we need to stop criticizing, we need to calm down, we need to support them, and started posting online intended alliances between Safer and MPP. And when I saw this, I called up, the other leaders of Safer, and I said, what's going on? Are you guys really aligned with MPP? Because I'm not a fan of that. And he said, well, no, we're still, we're not sure what's going on, but we're saying this. And I said, I know exactly why you're saying it. You're saying it because it looks good to connect with bigger people. But let's not let it be too hasty. Because what could happen is, if Safer aligns themselves with MPP, and MPP does in fact turn out to be a snake in the grass and uses Safer Arizona to quiet down the grassroots movement, the people will hang safer.
Yeah, I get your point. It is difficult. When Washington State had its legalization proposal 2 years ago, it was difficult for a lot of us to support it because it had no home grow and it had the 5 nanogram per se limit. But how do you not support something that's going to, free some people and at least be a step forward? It's a tough minefield to wade through, and especially in Arizona where things are so conservative, it's going to be tough to get anything passed. And so, yeah, good luck.
Well, I look at it like this, and I learned this because I also had a meeting with Andrew Myers, MPP, and he said that they had surveyed 700 people, and the question was, do you support legalization of small amounts of marijuana? And I said, why would you even pose the question that way? You're setting yourself up for failure, because if people say yes, then you're like, look, people only said yes to small amounts of marijuana. Right. Why would you even pose it that way? And also, he said that they were asking people if they support people growing pot in their yard, marijuana in their yard. And he said, some people just aren't in support. And I said, well, let's think about that person. Who is that person? They're not supporters because either they're corrupt, or they're ignorant, or they're willfully ignorant, which I still combine with corrupt.
Yeah.
Okay? Do we really want to pander to them and give them authority to describe what a legalization law should actually look like?
Yeah.
It really should be a point of reference. The only point that a non-supporter's input would matter is, do you support cannabis? Yes or no?
Yeah.
That's all we need to know. If they say no, thank you very much. If they say yes, I support it, what do you think a cannabis law should look like?
There you go. Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that when you're asking people, do you support people growing weed in their backyard? Well, already you've put a frame of, I'm going to be outside mowing my lawn, and I'm going to look over the fence, and I'm going to see a bunch of pot plants, and I'm going to smell up my neighborhood, and my kids are going to ask me questions. But if it's, do you support the right of people to grow their own cannabis? Right. That could change the response, because then you're thinking maybe indoors, maybe in a closet or something where I don't have to see it or smell it. So even phrasing the question, should people be able to grow in their backyards, almost seems like phrasing a question designed to get a low response.
But still, based on that, how many people that would say, to answer the question, do you support cannabis, would say yes? Would move on to say, but I don't support them growing it in their yard.
Yeah, and that's
Not
the way
many.
to try to find it out. Is to piece it, bit by bit, find out what people will support. Will they support home grow? Will they support an ounce limit?
Right.
Will they support stores? Will they support commercial grows?
Right.
All of those can be polled separately. Sure.
Right, and we're going to do even better than that. Instead of just doing a polling, we're doing a debate. I told you about the great cannabis debate of Arizona, and the people are clamoring for this. They really need the opportunity to have their voices heard. So they're posing the questions that the teams will debate. And I'm glad that you've agreed. We're going to go ahead and set one up for your areas, have you moderate and host them.
Love to.
And we want to set these up all over the country, because that's how you get the grassroots movement to have strength.
There you go.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Ray,
Russ.
pleasure being here. We, the people-radio.com. Get out, everyone.